Hey, what's up everybody? It's your boy Tristan Barracks here, the digital storyteller, and I'm super excited that you have joined me for another episode of Cinecut. On today's episode, we will be talking about the Cinevate Duzi Slider 4. Let's go! Woo! For those of you that don't know what a slider is, it is a film tool that allows you to put your camera on top of it, and then once you unlock the latch, it gives you the ability to get some super smooth slider shots, either left or right, or front to back. The Cinevate Duzi 4 is a well-crafted, well-thought-out cinematic slider that allows you to get all the shots you need, even if you're a one-man band. Most cinematic sliders are between 3 to 4 feet, which don't make them ideal for traveling, whereas the Duzi comes in a 2-foot option as well as a 3-foot option. I have the 2-foot option here, and as you can see, it's pretty small. It's small enough to put it into a bag that you're gonna check in when you're traveling, and it's really discreet and small, and it gets the job done in terms of being able to give enough coverage for you to be able to get the shots that you want to get. The first thing that I love about the Cinevate Duzi 4 is that it's lightweight. Now, I've had several different sliders in the past. My last slider that I still love, God rest its soul, is my Canova 3-foot slider. Now, there wasn't anything really wrong with it other than the fact that it was super long and it was super heavy. It was made out of solid aluminum, which was great. The build quality was great, but it just wasn't practical for my needs, especially when I was traveling. And last year or last fall, when I was getting ready to travel to South Africa, I really needed something that would give me the same level of quality and performance that I had in my Canova. The other reason why I love this design is because you have carbon fiber rods instead of your normal aluminum rods or your normal aluminum body. And this especially will be felt when you are traveling or when you're doing a run and gun type of a shoot where you have this on top of a tripod and you're trying to pick up a tripod with the camera on top, and you may have a few other things in a bag that you have on your shoulder. Having this carbon fiber option and having it built into the body makes it a lot easier to travel with, a lot easier to use, and it's still super durable. I love the build quality. It's made out of machined aluminum as well as carbon fiber. There are a few plastic pieces, but they're just knobs and screws, which are still finely made. There's an attention to detail with regards to mounting points, being able to mount quarter 20 points, as well as fluid head tripods with flat bases. There are just a lot of mounting points and mounting options where you can screw lights on, friction heads, monitors, multiple cameras, a whole whack load of different things that you can actually mount onto this small 2-foot slider. The other thing that's a cool feature is we have several different mounting options in terms of 1/4 inch on the top of the actual slider and as well as the bottom part of the slider as well. So again, this slider has really been well thought out, but I think the kicker and the thing that makes this the best slider in my opinion is the flywheel. The flywheel is basically a counterbalance or a counterweight that is on the bottom of the slider that allows you to get consistently smooth and just creamy and buttery slider shots. I honestly thought it was a gimmick until I tried it out at the Pro Fusion show, and I saw the difference. I saw how smooth and how buttery I could get my shots, and I was sold. And I ended up picking up one, and I'm so glad I did. Now, if I hold it like this, and as I push this, do you see how it's consistently going, right? It's consistently moving down there. Touch my finger a little bit. Because of the flywheel gives it a little bit of a counterbalance. So you're not getting that slipping and sliding effect that you would get with other sliders. You're actually getting a consistent, nice, smooth tracking shot. And that's what I loved about this the most, is that this little change, this little adjustment, this flywheel adjustment makes all the difference to your shots. I'm telling you, I've used this in South Africa, I've used this in several other productions, and I have been getting the most consistent slider movements. Now, the older versions don't have the flywheel, and that makes a world of a difference, because then what happens is you get a lot of like inconsistent movements. But the flywheel really helps to counterbalance everything out and allows the slider to be as smooth as possible. Right here, we got a nice leveler so we can know, and we can tell whether or not we're leveled in terms of our sliding. Kudos to Cinevate for thinking outside of the box and thinking about ways to be more innovative in a space that, let's be honest, has been inundated with a lot of different tech and different approaches to sliding. So, I mean, again, I love the flywheel. I think the flywheel is probably one of the best inventions for specifically this product in a long time. Cinevate has done an incredible job at crafting a slider that will really produce amazing shots with a very little effort. That's the big thing, is that you don't have to really be amazing at getting slider shots in order to get smooth, creamy shots, because that counterweight does so much of the work for you that all you really need to do is just worry about, obviously, your composition and some of the other technical things that you're doing as a cinematographer. It just works right out the box. You pull out the box, it's ready to go, it's already set up, and it consistently works. There are quite a few things built into the actual slider itself in terms of the ball bearings and in terms of the flywheel and some other track bits and pieces, and I really don't have any complaints about the usability. It's pretty straightforward. It's a solid slider that performs at a high level. I think the one caveat, or the one thing I don't like that much, is this latch. I feel like this latch is just like, it just isn't really great. Even though you press it and it's supposed to be tightened, sometimes I'll be walking with it or I'll be lifting it up and it'll just loosen and it'll drop or it'll move, which is not really good, especially if you have a heavy setup, a heavy camera setup. You want to have something that is really tight and that will stay in place. You could injure yourself, or even worse, you could even damage your camera or your equipment. So that would be my only qualm, is just this latch right here. I just don't feel like it's the best designed. Like it just doesn't feel the greatest, and even when you tighten it, it doesn't feel tight. You know, I have it tightened all the way and I can still push it, right? And now it's loose again, right? So that's something that definitely I would want to be redesigned, because I think that you could probably get a better latch or something that tightens it all the way so that it stays sturdy for the whole time. Lastly, price point. This bad boy was going for about $450, and honestly, when you consider that the other competitors within this genre are charging about $700 to $800 for this quality of slider, this is actually a really good deal, a really good bargain. For $450, the type of slider that you're getting is unbelievable. Flywheel is what makes the difference. A lot of the other sliders, even on the higher ends, the ones that are $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, you're looking at tracks, you're looking at motors, you're looking at all these other things to try and get consistent movement. Whereas with this particular model, the Duzi 4, you have the flywheel, and the flywheel pretty much gives you that exact same performance without having to have a whole bunch of other pieces that potentially can break down. So for me, between the 380 and the 450 range in terms of pricing, it's definitely worth it for me. I believe it's bang for your buck because of the type of quality that you're getting. And the other thing that's really dope, for those of you that are Canadian, this is a Canadian company. And the thing that's really cool is that everything is machined and made in Canada. So that's pretty dope too. So it's kind of cool to be able to support a homegrown Canadian company that is actually making some dope gear for filmmakers around the world. Well, that's the end of another episode of Cinecut with your host, me, Tristan Barracks. I hope you learned something and you had fun too. Now, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you have any questions for me, please comment below or just tell me what your thoughts are about the Duzi 4, the Cinevate Duzi 4. I really do think it's a really great piece of kit. It's very affordable, and it's gonna give you some killer shots, especially if you're a digital creator, if you're a content video creator, if you're in any of that creative space, even if you're doing time lapse, it's really cool. They have actually a motor you can buy as an accessory for this particular rig, and it's really, really dope. Other than that, if you like the videos that I'm creating, please subscribe to my channel. There will be more content coming in the near future. But until the next time, stay cool, stay creative. Peace.